Kamaru, what has changed? I think everyone would say Kamaru has gotten a lot better since you and Leon were in there last. Leon better himself. What do you expect out of him? What'll be different than the last time around?
Yeah, I think he has. He said it in interviews. He has a better understanding of the sport of wrestling, which is, I'm sure he does. He's now, after he been being dominated in 7 years ago. I think you of course you go to the back to the drawing board if you have aspirations to be a champion one day, and you start to kind of work on those mistakes and those things that you were lacking. So I definitely think he has gotten a lot better with his grappling, with his wrestling. But at the end of the day, there's a big difference between wrestling for 7 years and wrestling for almost 20 something years, 20
Yeah.
years. There's a huge difference. And, he's been able to wrestle and grapple with lesser opponents, but uh, clearly I'm not lesser opponents. So, Saturday night, he's going to understand that all the wrestling, all the preparation, just like I said with Covington, all these guys, all that is going to be for nothing.
Do you ever think about where you, like we've said, you're kind of lapping everybody? You ever think about what happens next? Do you have a name in mind? Do you call anybody out Saturday after you get the win?
Yeah, I've already said it. A lot of people think I'm joking when I say it. I wanted to skip. I'm going to skip middleweight, and I want the light heavyweight belt because I want to be a two-division champion.
Wow.
One, not only am I the best in the world, but I want to prove that I am the pound for pound best.
Wow.
So I'm going to skip that pound for pound. I'm going to take that light heavyweight belt, and I'm going to defend the belt. I'll defend both belts, so
Wow.
people can really understand what it means to be pound for pound, not just this fictitious stuff that they make up. When I actually go up and do it, and I walk away from the sport, I'll let you decide what you want to call me or my legacy.
Yeah, I mean, if you do that, I wouldn't even know what to say. I mean, you're just the most badass dude in the world. Period. Forget even weight classes. Then is that? Could you see yourself doing that your next fight after Leon on Saturday at 278?
Yeah, absolutely. It just depends on how froggy I'm feeling after that fight. Because you know how it is. You get out of the fight, and
Yeah,
I'm like last year, the Burns fight was a tough one, and I
yeah.
trained very very hard for that. Then I get out of the fight, and I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling froggy. Let's get Masvidal again in a couple, like 2 months. Let's do that. So it depends. I'm feeling great after this one. I might say, you know what? Go ahead, let me get him in November. Well, let me get him in December. You never know.
Yeah, well, I hope you're feeling froggy. All right, let me get you out of here on this last question. We talked about you going Hollywood. You are going to be in the Black Panther sequel. It's going to be one of, if not the biggest movie, not just of this year, but probably ever. How did it happen, and how darn excited are you to be in not just any movie, but be in Black Panther, Kamaru?
Well, for one, I'm extremely excited because that's my first one. I knew I was going to be in movies at some point one
Yeah,
day, but for that to be in that movie, I'm extremely excited because that's a movie that transcends just being a movie star. It's a movie
yeah,
that stands for something. It's a movie that represents something so
yes,
powerful. And in the fighting world, I feel like it was parallel. I kind of represent that in a sense with what I'm doing. So being associated and being in a movie like that to be able to represent not just the MMA community, but an African mixed martial artist at the top of the sport. It meant a lot to me. And plus, of course, I wanted to be Hollywood at some point, someday.
of course.
That's the goal.
That's
When I
it.
was starving, in college, eating Little Caesars pizzas. Shout out to Little Caesars.
Yeah,
Hey, if y'all want to call me,
nothing wrong
want
with
to do
that.
something later, never
Yeah,
want to call me, do something. Let's do something, Little Caesars. But yeah, eating that and dreaming of eating steaks every day, every night, and things like this, and being able to be in movies and dress as fancy as nice as I wanted to dress. You know, it was just work. I wanted to be able to get the opportunity to work and work and work, and I put that work in. And so now I'm at the point to where I'm starting to, get some of that shine. And it's crazy because people are like, oh, he Hollywood now. Of course, you're damn right I'm
yeah,
Hollywood now. I wanted to be Hollywood.
yeah,
What's wrong? You don't want me to be Hollywood? You want me to be eating Little Caesars and ramen noodles in my
yeah.
little shack all day, every day for the rest of my life? No, I'm gonna be Hollywood. But one thing they're failing to realize is that it took work to get to this point to be Hollywood. And it's still the same work ethic that's gonna get me beyond that. So, they better not sleep on that because Hollywood Usman is here to stay, and I'm gonna make a mark in the sport by the time I'm done.